Horrified. And it's where people, adults go back and start reading through their diaries from when they were kids and teenagers and all the horrific things that they would write about when they were younger. So it prompted me to look at my diary from back then. Jesus. Most of my years 14 and 15 was all about like my first love and how many seconds of the day I'd actually spent in her presence. So it was pretty horrifying. Like, I seen her today for 4 seconds. I thought that I was going to do, like, all very earnest and terrible. But the bit at the back of the diary is the bit that I remember writing the most, and that was my notes section. And I'm one of those teenagers, or I was, who was quite into writing lists. So I had a list, and it was the top 100 things that I find attractive in a woman. 100 things, I know. And at the top, it was all the boring things like nice eyes, nice hair. And then as you got farther down the list, it was all the things that I really wanted to put at the top, but I was scared that people would find out about it, so I kind of shoved it in at number 97. An ability to maybe treat me mean a little bit, maybe rough me up a wee bit. I was 14 years old and really naive, and I thought I was the only person in the world who had these sort of thoughts and desires. I mean, I never even heard the term BDSM until I was 15. The first time I heard it, I thought it meant big dangerous sex machines. Granted, there is a subsection of BDSM that does cater to big dangerous sex machines, but it's a pretty niche market. Anyway, going back to my teenage years as well, the internet was very much in its infancy back then. It was in the days of dial-up. I don't know if people remember the horrors of dial-up. But the internet was vital if you're from a small town like Elgin, where I'm from. Especially if you're ever so slightly gay. Because there isn't very many ways that you can meet other lasses, other than online, or when you get a wee bit older in Witherspoon's bathrooms. But anyway, that's another story. But the internet was where I first started to meet girls. And this is in the days before Facebook, before Bebo, before any of the social media that we're used to now. And it was all wee chat rooms and, you know, sending photos and everything on to each other. The problem was that back then the photos were so heavily pixelated, it was like a Lonely Hearts version of Pac-Man. I mean, honestly, or columns or something, you're kind of lining up the pixels, lower eyes, nose, beard, oh no, again, but anyway, the internet is where I have made sort of most of my connections up north. And I've got quite a few sort of dating disasters that have happened over the years. And there's quite a few that I could be willing to share with you, but I'm going to share with you one before I scoot off the stage and leave you to somebody who's more capable than me. But anyway, this is fairly recently. I met a lassie online, and this was in Inverness. She knows I'm telling the story tonight. I wish I could say I was making it up, but I'm not that intelligent, honestly. So we met on Tinder, as you do, and we'd gone for a few drinks and back to hers, and everything was going fine. And then, like, we started, I don't know, you know, getting down to business. And she said to me, she says, "You're into that kinky shit, aren't you?" Well, I am, but she seemed really innocent, and I thought, well, I'm not going to say get out the cattle prod or anything like that. I wanted to keep it pretty tame. So I said to her, I says, "I'll give you a clue about what might get me off." I says, "The tattoo on my arse is a clue. For anyone who doesn't know, I've got a red handprint on my arse. So a pretty big clue, something relatively tame." So she kind of looked at me, she's like, "Oh, aye, okay. Right, you go away for an hour, and then when you come back, right, I'll text you when I'm ready." And I thought, "An hour?" I said, "What do you mean to go away for an hour?" What the hell? I mean, I thought she'd maybe away to Google up scenarios or something and gear herself up, but anyway, I toddled off to the shops, and then I, you know, 40 odd minutes later I get the text to go back. Now we weren't all quite on terms where I could walk right in, so I had to go and like knock on the door. So I knock on the door, and I'm waiting for her to come out, and all I'm hearing is this rustling noise, this what the fuck's that? So she opens the door. No word of a lie. The woman was stood there in a fucking bin bag. She had a hole cut out for her head and 2 holes cut out for the arms. And I'm like, what the fuck's this about? And then I was like, didn't say anything, Nikki, for fuck's sake, didn't say anything, right? Poor lassie's got all this effort. She obviously thinks it looks a bit like PVC or latex or something. So she had her hand out and starts looking all suggestively and, drags me out of the bedroom. Opens the door and when she goes in, she kind of goes in. And she's over in the corner and she's preparing something. What the fuck she's preparing? Out the corner of my eye, I look and all I see is the entire bed, the bedside cabinet, the walls, the floor, everything. No fucking joke, it's covered in newspaper. I'm like, this just gets weirder and weirder. She wants to give me a test on the bloody headlines and whack me one if I get it wrong or something. And then she turns round, also seductively, in her bin bag. Looks at my arse where the red handprint is, carrying a paper plate. She comes up to me and she goes, so, a finger painting fetish, is it what? Grabs that paper over. Or is it just paint in general that does it for you? Well, what do you say to that? I mean, honestly, by the time she realised that it wasn't quite a finger painting tattoo that I've got, she ran to the bathroom and promised never to have sex again. She has. She's now happily with someone and we're pals and she knows I'm telling the story tonight. But this is just one of many stories that I have to share with you. And the fact that you have laughed has been really good because this is my first time ever doing comedy.